So let me give you a little update on the CDC and the mask mandate. Now, you might ask yourself, Glenn, why are people having a problem taking the vaccine? Well, because, I don't know, we're not talking about if you've had COVID and you already have the antibodies for the first time. Nobody even is addressing that. Does that play a role at all? I've already had it. We're not talking about anything really reasonable, it feels, at this time. You're only being belittled. You're being lectured to. Nobody's sitting down and having a conversation saying, look, I understand what the ding. Nobody's doing that. It was a massive push. They lied to us from the beginning on the masks, on the 15 days, on all of it. And now, with this new Delta variant, which seems less lethal, we're being told we have to start all over again. No, I don't think so. No. I won't. Now, will you take the vaccine? You know what? If you would have asked me that, even Biden would have asked me that 6 months ago, I would have said, yeah, of course I am. No, not now. I don't trust them. Everybody is acting so weird. And when they refuse to answer normal questions, I feel uncomfortable about it. Now, I still trust the vaccine. I don't think there's chips in it, but I just don't like the way they're behaving. Now, that's just the way I feel. But when they start to do things like, for instance, what the CDC did on Tuesday, this doesn't help. Listen to this story. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention cited an unpublished study from India to justify its recommendation on Tuesday that fully vaccinated people wear a mask in public indoor settings in areas of substantial or high transmission of COVID-19. Now, I want you to watch for this, because this was a Woodrow Wilson thing. Experts. He said it was time to listen to the scientists and the experts. We couldn't have a represented republic anymore because the things were getting way too complex, and we'll just hire a bunch of experts to tell us what we need to do, and they'll guide society. That's exactly what is happening. Notice every time Fauci is questioned on something, he says peer-reviewed, peer-reviewed, peer-reviewed. Well, that's what the CDC said. Here's this study from India that says we really need to have in indoor settings, you have to wear a mask. Peer-reviewed, peer-reviewed, peer-reviewed. Well, the study claimed the Delta variant produced an unusually large viral load in more than 100 vaccinated healthcare workers with breakthrough infections. Here's the problem. When the peers did review it for the journal Nature, they rejected it. The archives of the study's page on Research Square, a preprint server for unpublished research, shows that this was marked reject on July 9th and remained so at least through the evening of July 26th Eastern Daylight Time. So when the CDC said, well, this is peer-reviewed, we're using this study, and that's why we're doing it, science, peer-reviewed, that had been rejected. The reject status and the review notes were removed by the next morning. So the CDC sides it, and then what they do is they take the reject status off and all of the review notes, all of the peer reviews. They took all of those away by mid-morning the next day and replaced it with posted, suggesting that the paper had been accepted without any revisions. Now, a few smart people got onto Twitter and was like, wait a minute. And because of that, the notes were restored and the status was changed to revise. It said rejected, But then they put revised, bearing the same date, July 9th. So they are making it look like on July 9th, they just said revise, when actually all the peers said reject. Now, here's what they said the problem was. There was a bug and a user interface error on our end. And that's what happened. It was just a bug. And I know that happens all the time. All the time. You know, where a document can be found, but one word will be changed. You know, how many times does that happen to you, Stu?
All the time.
All the time. All the time. Now, the CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, remember that's the woman from Pennsylvania who's got just a buttload of credibility with me. You remember? You know who I'm talking about?
That's not Rochelle Walensky. You're talking about
Isn't she?
You're talking about the person whose gender might be questioned by some. No, that's a different lady.
That's a different
lady.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, then she said fully vaccinated people have just as much viral loads as the unvaccinated, making it possible for them to spread the virus to others, which is why children should wear masks in schools. Dan Crenshaw said, shut up.
Was that a quote?
Yeah, well,
pretty much.
He said the game changer data for CDC used for the mask mandate is from a single study from India. The study was rejected in peer review, but the CDC used it anyway? No.
And I would also add, I haven't seen this around in some of the reporting on this, but India's not even using. They literally have no vaccine use in their country. That is an American vaccine. They've been using the Russian vaccine, they've been using an Indian vaccine, and they've been using AstraZeneca, but they don't use Pfizer. They don't use Johnson & Johnson, and the Moderna one they just approved like last week, so they haven't started using it yet. So this study was done on people who aren't even using the vaccines that we use here. Like, I mean, that's kind of a big detail.
This is why people don't want the vaccine. This is not you can't claim science. Mm-hmm. You can't say that and then give something that was rejected in peer review.
I don't think there's any reason though that this would make this isn't even about vaccines, right? No, this is about masks,
right? But it's about the credibility on all of it. You know, once you lie to me about other stuff, I'm going to believe you about this. When do I know you're telling the truth?
I do not think you should get the vaccine based on your trust of Anthony Fauci or Rochelle Walensky. You should get the vaccine because it's been shown to work over and over and over and over again.
Sure.
But you're right. Like, they have no credibility on this stuff. They changed their guidance every 2 days. I mean, every 2 days there's a new thing that you're supposed to do that yesterday they told you weren't supposed to do. Or in this case, now they're restricting us more. After they said it was okay to go around and have the vaccine and do what you used to do. Go around, live your life as it used to be.
See, and again, is it this dangerous that we all have to be corralled? Is it this dangerous? Now listen to this. Who is telling us that you are killing people if you walk around and you're unvaccinated and not wearing a mask? Who's telling us that? The United States government is telling us that, and the media, right?
Sure.
Biden is all over that. You're a killer if you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Border officers have been releasing illegal immigrants who have tested positive for COVID-19 into the Rio Grande Valley in Texas.
It's amazing.
We didn't know this. No one told the city of La Jolla. This is the police department saying this. No one told us that these people were possibly ill. The border officers had been releasing illegal immigrants into Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley, which had put them up into a hotel that they had rented out. La Jolla is a southern city in the Texas border with Mexico. The information we have is that everybody is staying in that hotel is COVID-19 possible. Officers say they witnessed a group of 20 to 30 people staying at the hotel, most not wearing masks. A county judge, Richard Cortez, called on federal immigration officials to stop releasing infected migrants into our community. In 1 week, border agents in the area apprehended more than 20,000 illegal immigrants. We also know now that there was a massive cover-up at Fort Bliss where the government made every effort to keep the extent of COVID-19 outbreak under wraps. The allegations about the Texas base were made in a whistleblower complaint filed Wednesday by career federal civil servants who volunteered at the Fort Bliss facility between April and June of this year. Quoting, COVID was a widespread problem among children and eventually spread to many employees, reads the complaint. It was initially obtained by Fox. Hundreds of children contracted COVID in the overcrowded conditions. Adequate masks were not consistently provided to children, nor was it consistently enforced. Then it goes on to say how these kids were treated. It's a horror show. It's a horror show. The same people who are telling us that we have to mask up, we have to change our life, we're going to kill people, they're releasing thousands of people, thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that are coming across our border who have tested positive, have it, and they're releasing them all over the country.
Inexcusable. Inexcusable in every way. It's the same way it was inexcusable when they said the George Floyd protests were okay because racism was more of a health issue than the pandemic. Like there's no way to believe the propaganda that they put out there.
None.
So I understand why people would not want to listen to any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, look, the good thing here is the CDC changed these recommendations. We may see more, obviously, as you point out, like these things may escalate. But like, has any state put in a statewide mask mandate since this?
No, the federal government is.
Federal government is something that Biden controls.
But have you flown on airlines lately?
Yeah, multiple times.
I've never been told I was going to prison more than when I was on on an airplane.
And I don't know how much you flew because I flew when Donald Trump was president during the pandemic as well. And this stuff's all new with Biden.
It's all new.
Biden changed all of this stuff. The threatening tone, when you're eating, it's pull your mask down, take a bite, and then put your mask back up and chew. They actually say that on the announcements.
Horrible.
From the flight deck, which is just embarrassing. I mean, you're treating us like children. And
the rest of America is done with it.